Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Laces Out podcast. It is our pre-Super Bowl podcast episode, but there's still an episode next week, which is the pre-Super Bowl episode, but we got a guest, so we were going to do a pre-episode this week as well. So, yeah. We had to review the championship games, so there's that. And all the usual stuff, but we got a very special guest, so we made the most of it. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe, and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. Big one, share the podcast around. That's a big one for the podcast. Share it around. If you've got an NFL fan in your life, send this podcast their way. They will love it. Right, let's get into it. Here we go. This is CookieCast. Laces Out.
Well, YouTube viewers right now are like, what? Because it said it was the NFL, but something's gone wrong. I was gonna make a joke and realize that it could have ended up being offensive, because I was like, they've got a spare wheel, and I was like, no, that's not nice. So I didn't use that joke. I'll delete it immediately. Yes, if you're not watching, you just heard me talking absolute nonsense. It is the Laces Out podcast here on the CookieCast Network. I am joined by my most wonderful co-host, Mr. Paul Williams. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you very much.
And I had to remember how the categories went. So, Mark's the brains, James is the looks, and our guest is the comedic side of the Straight to the Apex podcast. Tony T-Dog Rawson, how are you, sir?
Hello, I am back, bitches, sporting the Detroit blue, which was extremely disappointing.
Oh, wow, he's gone there already. Jesus, wow, I don't think I've recovered. I'm in recovery. I haven't recovered.
It was so promising. It looked so promising. And then I woke up.
And then.
It's just happening. In that first quarter, I was just, nah. This is what I feared way back in the season.
Yeah, we all feared, and our fears were realised. We did invite the other members of Straight to the Apex podcast as an advert, like a prelim to the start of the Formula One season. I believe the Formula One podcast pre-season podcast was moved to accommodate the NFL podcast, and then it all went horribly wrong.
You've just got too many podcasts now, Andy. That's
ultimately, I am going to have to let one of them go.
No, never. Don't say that.
Find out which next week when some of us aren't here anymore.
It's just going to be Andy talking about NFL and Super Bowl.
Honestly, if anybody's getting let go,
followed by
absolutely this guy. Everybody else will be here next week. Like, yeah, we made an executive decision. He's not here anymore. We can enjoy. So yes, it was supposed to be a little trailer, some could say, for the upcoming NFL. NFL's coming to us, the upcoming Formula One season. However, Mark had to bow out, and I believe somebody is celebrating a birthday. And that's right, it is my dog. It's his birthday.
James is 21, so he's having just a whale of a time. That's all I can say. And happy birthday, James, if you're ever listening. Mark, he held on, bless him. He's getting on now. So when it gets past 9 o'clock, he just fucking loses it. He just starts.
I'm with him. I'm really absolutely there. I'm an
really
old man.
And he just loses his shit. Like I was scared that he was going to still come on, to be honest, because I thought if he's on here, it's just gonna be carnage. It's just gonna be dropping F-bombs and it'll just be horrific. It'll drop scary things.
There was some small fear that it was going to descend into chaos between the Formula One boys, but I thought it'd be fine. We are. We're all back.
We're back next week, straight to the Apex. Season 4.
I had to get you guys on because ultimately at this point in time, I'm going through some kind of straight to the Apex withdrawals. It's been far too long. And I'm very excited to be able to get that weekly listen back under the belt. Look forward to that coming next week. Talking about people's ages, I heard a fantastic way of telling people how old you are the other day. This is stolen from elsewhere, so this is not mine. But somebody said, yes, I recently turned 40 in 2020. And I thought that is just exceptional. To steal a joke from a comedian, who would have thought it? Anyway, we're not here to steal other people's jokes. I have other podcasts for that. We are here to talk about the NFL, the championship games. They be gone. Our Super Bowl has been set for better, or what's that other thing? Oh, that's right. Worse. And I can't imagine we will mention anything to do with how our Super Bowl ended up being set in any way, shape, or form. But that's jumping ahead in a way. Now, week in, week out, we do like to thank people, we like to credit people, and I think this week could be the week that the credit is more than due. We got some stats. They were, up to the wire. They did sort of screeching sideways, but you've got to give people a little bit of leeway when, they're not very well. So there are stats to go through. They are fairly juicy. I have got both of my co-host and our guest to get in on the stat action. But Paul, before I run away and finish this podcast, without anybody having said anything, let's take a breath, take a step back, and find out what the book looks like from last week's games.
Yes, indeed. So obviously, 2 games last week. Championship games, no less. Commanders at Eagles, Bills at Chiefs. Now, obviously, myself and Mr. Cook put our predictions in, and we were joined by the esteemed Mrs. Amy Williams making her picks. And they went as follows. Myself and Andy had the Eagles over the Commanders. We got that correct. Amy, sadly, had the Commanders beating the Eagles. That didn't happen. And then it was the game that was important, the one that mattered. It was the Bills at the Chiefs. I did it again. I went with the Bills, thinking they can't lose four times to the Chiefs in the playoffs. There's not a team out there that can lose 4 times. Yeah, I should have realised. They've done it before. Sadly, Mrs. Williams also had gone with the Bills to beat the Chiefs, so she's 0 for 2, sadly. Andy did back the Chiefs, however, so 2 for 2, gets the win, puts himself to 9 points for the season. I still have a half-point lead. 9.5 points to 9. 2.5 points for the guest on the season. So, it's very tight. Side bet-wise, Andy took the Chiefs to beat the Bills, and I took the Eagles to beat the Commanders. So we're basically, as you were from last week, Andy on 55 points for the season. I'm on 56 points for the season. So we'll have to have a look and see if we both go the same way in the Super Bowl or if we both pick opposite ways in the Super Bowl. But we'll have to try and work out a way that we can put a side bet element onto the Super Bowl if we have picked the same way for the winner, I would say. But that's something we can discuss at a later date, dare I say.
Well, next week we'll have to go in depth into what happened in Pro Bowl. Or completely ignore the fact that the Pro Bowl exists like the rest of the world does and just, really get in depth into like a pre-Super Bowl party. However, with our guest here this week, we will do a little ease into by getting what Tony thinks is going to happen at Super Bowl and other aspects. So that is the book done from last week. Paul, can I get a season-long update, please?
You can indeed. So we went into last week with 5 people, excuse me, still with a chance of getting at least a portion of their Super Bowl pick correct. Those 5 people were Mr. Andrew Cook, Mr. Stuart Wilbancy, and Mark and Tony from the Formula One podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Mark and Tony had both picked the Detroit Lions to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. So obviously, Tony's already said he sat there in his Lions blue. Sadly, the NFC participant will not be the Detroit Lions, but the AFC component will be the Kansas City Chiefs. So you can console yourself there, Tony, with the fact that you have got a point from the fact that you did pick the Chiefs to make the dance. So that's something, I suppose.
Safe bet, very safe bet.
I mean, at this point, you might as well just pick them to make it for the rest of time. At this point, it seems.
I'm not sure if it's been mentioned in the. I think I may be stepping on some toes stats wise here, but I do believe something in the stats may mention that the Chiefs are probably going to be around for a while at this point. However, I've seen the same wild prediction multiple times over the last few days to do with if this happens, then this and this and this will happen. And I fully agree with all of those predictions. Now then, the stats mistress is Paulie. However, she, like whichever delivery company it was that used to advertise that rain, sleet, or snow, they would deliver your item. I can't remember who it was. It's not going to be Royal Mail, is it? Let's face it. She did deliver us some delicious stats. She has had to go to a completely different source. So if these stats are wrong, I mean, obviously you just blame them, don't you? Sorry, Matt Gideon from 101 Great Goals. I feared that these stats may turn into some sort of like football, as in soccer-based stats from the title of what I guess is the website or the webpage or something. But I have attempted to vet the stats as best I can, and I have got my co-host and our guest in on the action. There are a few stats to go through, and they are stat-like. So here are the NFL Championship stats. Let's get started. Number 1. Despite the Bills taking a 22-21 lead in the third quarter, the Chiefs bounced back and scored 11 points in the fourth to defeat the Bills and win their third consecutive AFC Championship. Running back James Cook had 134 scrimmage yards and 2 touchdowns on 16 total touches. good for 8.4 yards per catch/run. It's not his fault that he didn't get a touch on Buffalo's last drive of the game. Straight into the second one, the Bills allowed 32 points in the AFC Championship after only giving up just 32 points in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. With that performance, Buffalo allowed the Chiefs to score 139 points in the 4 postseason matchups between Mahomes and Allen, 34.75 points per game. That's a tough one to swallow. Moving away from those games, my third and final stat is the Washington Commanders quarterback, Jaden Daniels, had arguably the best rookie season a quarterback has ever had. He was named to the 2024 Pro Bowl and finished the regular season with the 4th highest quarterback rating in the league. He also set the rookie record for most rushing yards by a quarterback in a season, 891, and the highest completion percentage by a quarterback to start in every game for his team. 69%. There we go. That's me done. I'm going to hand you over to my glorious co-host for more juicy stats. Paul?
So, continuing on the Jaden Daniels theme, though Daniels threw an interception, his first since week 17, he also recorded 255 passing yards, 2 total touchdowns, and a team-high 48 rushing yards. He wasn't perfect, but he played well enough to set his team up for success. 3 players fumbled the ball away. Washington's defense allowed 229 rushing yards on 36 carries, good for 6.4 yards per attempt. Oh. Even rookie Eagles running back Will Shipley broke off a 57-yard run against the Commanders' defense. Oh dear. Eagles running back Saquon Barkley looks like an MVP candidate in his first year in Philly, after rushing for 5,325 yards in his first 6 seasons with the Giants. Saquon has already accumulated 2,447 yards in 19 games with the Eagles. Oh, good Christ. And my final stat, safe to say that Philly would not be playing in Super Bowl 59 without Barkley. He's averaging 159 scrimmage yards and over 1.5 total touchdowns in the Eagles' 3 postseason contests. That level of production has been invaluable since Philadelphia quarterback Jalen Hurts is only throwing for 168.3 yards per game. Oh my. My oh my.
Oh.
Tony, take us home.
Are you ready, guys? 3 of the 5 best rushing teams in the NFL this year paid running backs major money last off-season. The Baltimore Ravens signed Derrick Henry yards this season to a 2-year deal worth $16 million. That'd be nice. The Green Bay Packers are paying Josh Jacobs 6th in rushing yards this season, $48 million over 4 years. And of course, I'm going to butcher his name here because I'm going to do it.
Saquon. There you go.
Saquon.
Yeah.
I mean, if you listen to the Straight to the Apex podcast, you will know my name's pronunciations are terrible, regardless of how many episodes we do. So tune in for that. Saquon, first in rushing yards this season, was signed to a 3-year deal, $37.75 million. Lovely.
Money.
With this AFC Championship win, Kansas City will be playing in its 5th Super Bowl over the last 6 years. Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals beat the Chiefs in the 2022 to hand KC its only conference championship loss since the start of 2019 season. Interesting. Another talented young man. And my final point On February 9th, the Chiefs will play the Eagles with a shot at becoming the first franchise in NFL history to win 3 consecutive Super Bowls. Unfortunately for NFL fans who are sick of seeing Kansas City win, the Chiefs are going to continue being this good for a long time, even if they don't complete the three-peat.
Yes, I did suspect I'd seen it in the stats when I was talking before about the fact that whether they do it or they don't, we're probably going to be seeing the Chiefs for quite some time. Obviously, there's a lot of mention about them being the new version of the Patriots, etc., etc. I think so. Somebody mentioned in our group today about how got to diminish what Tom Brady and the Patriots did. I would take Tom Brady and the Patriots over this any day of the week at this point in time, and I, for a long time, despised that entire thing until right at the end when I went, oh wait, no, he just is that good, isn't he? And by then it was too late to sort of. Those be the stats, and our Super Bowl is set, rightly or wrongly. A few things to probably mention. The company LASIK. Initially, I was pretty sure they were offering free LASIK to NFL referees with the advert, let's get better calls, and a picture of Josh Allen clearly crossing the line for one of the many bad calls that were made in the Bills-Chiefs game. Apparently, it's either changed or been confirmed that they are just offering free eye tests to NFL referees. So, yeah, there's been an insane amount of coverage around that game and how, yet again, the refs have helped the Chiefs to get another victory. A variety of bad calls that have been reviewed to say maybe this one wouldn't have affected the outcome of the game. Maybe this one wouldn't have affected the outcome. The one in question is did Josh Allen cross the line with the ball? And I think at this point in time, the point is that they absolutely did cross. Obviously, that doesn't change anything. The Chiefs are yet again going to the Super Bowl. Woo fucking who. Not my Super Bowl is what I would make as my banner if I was going to test something like this. But hey, there's a lot of negativity around the matchup, the Super Bowl, the way it's come about, and a multitude of other things. The script has resurfaced, and many different variations of, oh, I got my new Chiefs jersey. That joke's never leaving out. So we are fortunate enough to have a guest, so we should utilize our guest. Tony, I know I don't think I'm speaking out of turn when I say earlier in the NFL season you were not as enamored with the sport, yet more recently, I believe a picture has emerged of you not only getting involved but watching the NFL. Obviously, you did us a super solid by guesting on a week for the Laces Out podcast, and yes, I too feel your disappointment around the Lions. Will you be partaking in the Super Bowl this year?
I think I'm gonna record it. I'm gonna watch it. I'm at work the next day. I'm not one of these people that will. Not yet. But my guest appearance did inspire me to watch a little bit more football than previous seasons. So yeah, and hopefully we'll get to a game one day. I mean, before this season, it was kind of like meh. Now it's kind of tickled my fancy a little bit. So hopefully,
it would be nice if a collection of the games that we actually get in this country were worth going to see. The NFL has announced one side of the games for this upcoming year, and wow, bottom of the barrel doesn't even do it justice.
But hopefully,
so
I followed the Lions. Disappointed they shit out at the end, but it is what it is. I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl. I have a prediction.
We will get to that shortly, but let's get the real business out of the way. Let's get the real meat out of the way. You're sitting down. The Super Bowl's paused, ready to rock and roll. You're about to dive into what's probably 3 to 4 hours of some of the, some would say finest, some would say most tepid football that you could possibly enjoy. What's on the menu? What is on the menu?
I'm going to go with the most stacked amount of nachos
No.
you've ever seen.
He's done it, ladies and gentlemen. He's absolutely brought in the big guns. He's fired up the finest. Now let's talk nachos, because this is where things could go one way or another. What's on those nachos?
We're gonna go. It's probably gonna be a full bag of cool original Doritos. They're my favorite. Yes, others are out there. Maybe a little portion of like the chili ones, maybe the hot ones, maybe tangy cheese.
Sprinkled through.
Oh,
Maybe, yeah, like a 7 to 3 ratio, something like that. Then we're gonna go cheese sporadically through it all. Yeah.
yep.
And
Yep.
we're also gonna go with salsa, of course, around
It's
it.
got to be there. It's got to be part of it.
Cheese, tangy cheese spread. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're also gonna go with the full, just all the sauces. I don't like. What's the one I don't like? Hotness is not my thing.
Yeah, I'm with you.
No heat.
Let me ask you this: Is there a guacamole?
This
yes
is
or
the
no?
point. Yes, it's the Super Bowl. It's the Super Bowl. But again, it wouldn't be sporadically on. Listen, it wouldn't be like in the
Is
mix.
it well and truly on the side? Is it on the
It'd be
side?
on the side. It'd be there on the
Yes.
side. For me, it'd be on the side for people that want to go there for it. Okay? Then we just layer this up. So we're going to repeat that, but we're going to add, like chips, then more layers of sauce and cheese. And then on the top, then we're going to just dollop it on with no chips, just dollop it on. Yeah, a bit more cheese. And then we're going to probably go oven or air fry. Just so everything kind of melts a little bit. And then we're going to take it out, serve it up, and just absolutely, I don't know if I can say this, but just go balls deep in this.
Say it, because I'm with you. Now then, let me ask you this question. Is there some sort of chili in the vicinity? Yes or no?
Now, for me, no. Because I'm not a hot guy.
Really?
I am a hot guy, but I'm not a hot guy in that sense. But what I've missed, and what is almost like the icing on the cake of this nacho dish, is chicken, but shredded.
Shredded? Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Even as a vegetarian, I am with you on that.
Again, sporadically out. And then you could go pork if you want, some like shredded pork maybe as well.
When you said the shredded chicken, I was like, a pulled pork of some description
yes,
could make its way onto that dish. I'm just saying. Now then, we're either going to bring it home or we are crashing this boat. Sour cream. Where are we landing with the sour cream?
See,
I
would say yes.
Okay.
The sour cream.
Is it on the side or is it getting involved?
I would say it's getting involved with the salsa and the tangy cheese. So,
yes.
So let me just. So you've done it all. You sat down. You're watching it. You're gonna go in and you're just gonna be like, right. Oh yeah, this chip looks nice. Bit of cheese, bit of chicken on there, salsa, bang, gorgeous. Next time you go in there, you're gonna go, ooh, I fancy sour cream with a bit of cheese on and a bit of pulled pork. Boom.
Always keep that mouth guessing.
Exactly. And we're just going to keep going in this circle, and then if you want a bit of heat, you might hit that chili heat wave. Little surprise in there.
You got to know where the pockets are.
Exactly. And then you might feel like, oh, actually, I want to go back to like just a cool original with some cheese on.
Yeah. And obviously, if it's making up 70% of your nacho platter, it's just there. It's just there. You can make that decision at all times.
And if you're getting too much, you can go somewhere else. Go cream.
Any jalapenos making an appearance?
No, I'm not a heat guy.
I know because I'm not a heat guy, but in a scenario where it's jalapeno or not, I'm taking the jalapeno. I'm saying yes to the jalapeno. But I don't want like a million. I just want just a smattering. I want to see them there. I want to know they're there. I don't want to be attacked by them. I want them to be a part of the party, but not be the party.
Yeah.
So I flip because I'm not like if you're like, oh, this is going to melt your face off. Count me out. I don't want to know. I don't want to be involved. Call someone else. If you're like, it's not there unless you want it there, call me. I'll be involved. I want to be a part of it. A little like nom, and then is that jalapeno? I'm gonna go like a Dorito with some kind of sauce and a small slice of jalapeno, straight down, delicious.
There is an option.
Yeah, you can choose.
It's such a big portion. You could just put it in one section.
Absolutely.
And that caters for all. Caters for all.
Whilst you at home ponder on what we've laid out here, almost like a platter, we are going to take one step back, refresh ourselves, refresh our palates, to dive back in to talk about what some might say is the real part of the meal, the real daddy or chips question. That is, who's coming for dessert? Find out when we come back in a moment, just a short moment. Join us in a minute. Boom, baby, we're back. If for some weird reason you've decided to join us halfway through, which I don't know how or why you would have done that, you will be treated to these usual faces. And we borrowed a guest from fantastic podcast known as the Straight to the Apex podcast, our Formula One podcast, which is due to return for the 2025 season. Tony, cannot thank you enough for joining us.
That's all right. Happy to be here.
The table is set. Super Bowl is on the TV. You're enjoying what's happening. You are, some would say, full to the brim with the main course being the Super Bowl. But off to the side, you've had a delicious platter of nachos, some not quite sides like accoutrement. It's here, and you're thinking, I've had my savoury. I need a little something sweet, just something to cut through any potential grease. Just give me that energy to keep watching what is no doubt going to be fantastic football. Who's coming to the pie? Who is the dessert? Are we thinking New York cheesecake? You know, a bit of an American kind of theme there. A cookie for the Cookie Cast podcast. Who's getting involved? Dairy milk just there, chilling off to the side. He's come from the fridge. He's turned up. He's like, let's do this. Let's make this a 10 out of 10 evening. Who's getting involved?
Now, I'm not a big dessert guy.
Oh,
It's a difficult one, but thinking it over, what would take my fancy? Now, I do like my chocolate. But this kind of has chocolate, and if these are put in front of me, I will eat them. And it is. We're not sponsored by them.
Not yet.
Yeah. It'd have to be some Krispy Kreme donuts.
There we go. He's gone off book. He's gone a little bit over to the left, and he's gone and got the Krispy Kreme donut involved.
And it could be any of it. Chocolate, preferably. The Biscoff one, to die for. I mean, they do add a red velvet cake one. I'm partial to the pink one. Yeah, just any of them.
Honestly, sitting down for the Super Bowl, it is an absolute banger of a choice. It's, as I'm sure you're aware at this point in time, it's an American company. And they're almost definitely going to deliver a football-shaped donut of some description. And those laces will be out on that.
It's an absolute slam dunk for me. Let's be honest. I mean, I've used a different sports term there. I was going to say it's a home run, but I was like, cats are that different sport, and I'm just going to use a completely different sport for the same thing. But it's an easy win for a minute. Sell an extra couple of hundred, maybe even 1,000 donuts just by basically tapering the ends, a little bit of white icing over the top.
Job done.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
So there it is. Tony,
if you're not hungry now, then you never will be.
Tony's took it into nachos and Krispy Kreme donuts. And honestly, I think we can all agree it's fantastic. It's delicious. Myself and Paul need extra preparation time for our Super Bowl meals. And what I mean by that is there is still a debate in my house at time of recording. There is still debate in my house about what the menu is going to be. I like I say, my youngest daughter has been cracking the whip around. She just has a list of meals that she wants me to make for her. And I'm trying to sort of direct her towards Super Bowl Sunday so that I can, if I'm making homemade Super Bowl food, then I can try and do all the food in one go. I know Paul's not shy when it comes to tucking in on the Super Bowl delicacies. So we need an extra week to go through. We're going to go backwards and forwards, and we're going to bring you the Cookie Cast sponsored Super Bowl menu for you at home to say, I like that, don't like that, I'd replace that with that. And then we're going to give you the opportunity at home to send in your Super Bowl menu picks. The one that we like the best, we are going to pick as our guest Super Bowl menu pick, and that one will win a fantastic prize. I'm not going to tell you I'm going to come around and cook you a meal, but it's going to be something close. It may or may not be a Cookie Cast branded apron. Just saying. Just going to make a mental note to order Cookie Cast branded aprons for the merch website. But that's a whole other thing. That's off-air business. So,
well, I've got a brief question before we carry on. Obviously, we've got the nachos, we've got the donuts there.
You're thinking beverage?
Well, I'm thinking, what are you going to be washing down all those nachos?
I've completely overlooked beverage time.
Yeah.
I think, we'll see when it comes to drink. I'm not a big drinker.
Okay.
So
Me neither.
this is this is where don't know. It might just have to be some bottles of Madry. Just some steady.
A nice
crazy.
A nice easy drinking lager.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Nothing crazy. Nothing. I don't know what other alcoholic beverages are out there that you would suggest to drink on a Super Bowl night.
So back in the day, for me, it would either be it was whether or not you could get hold of them. It would always be a case of try and pick an American-based beverage.
It's obviously Miller time.
Back in the day, a couple of cases of MGD, a little bit of Miller Genuine Draft, lovely. If you could get hold of Miller Lite, that was always good.
Oh, yes.
I know that Andy's not a Coors Light man, but he's had it in the past.
It's a very long Coors Light related conversation. Speaking of back in the day, my evening was just Jaeger bomb from start to finish until the year where back in the days when I used to actually go to work after having stayed up all night watching the Super Bowl. And this was in the days when it used to run until like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'd just be down in Jaeger bombs one after another. And then there was the year that I went to work, and every single minute of the 8/9 hours that I was there, I was absolutely dying in a multitude of different ways, and swore never again. I will be tucking into what will be the finest non-alcoholic beverages. I dare say my glamorous co-host bought me some absolute delights for the festive period, and I have been holding on to some of the finer of the selection. Honestly, there was some beers in that box that I looked at and went, I mean, these could only be consumed at the birth of a child. These are that good.
Jesus.
They are chilling in my fridge right now. My favorite was when I turned to my oldest daughter and went, these beers are amazing. They could only be consumed at the height of celebration. Like, like New Year's Eve. This was on New Year's Day. So I missed the boat there. So Super Bowl, let's get into the pastry sour, shall we? But anyway, we've got your menu, we've got your beverage. It's time to get down to the business, and we need your pick. As we've got you here, yes, I know we're all excited for the Pro Bowl, but as we have Tony here, we are going to ask him for a multitude of questions around what we think. What Tony thinks the Super Bowl is going to look like, the outcome, the players, the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs, and everything in between. So, Paul, as always, has a list of questions, ultimately 50-50 based questions. So, Paul, first up on the list is what?
Well, as is usually where we'd start with the predictions, it is, of course, which team do you think will win the Super Bowl? Obviously, we started off with 32. We've whittled it down to 2. Either the Chiefs or the Eagles. Tony, where would you be putting a shiny 50p piece if it was given to you right now?
I'm going to go with Kansas City. Because,
Kansas City Chiefs.
as you've already alluded to, favourites in the season, getting a couple of lucky draws here and there, lucky calls here and there. I mean, third of all, they've done it twice before. They've been in finals before. They've got the experience. They've got the experienced players. They've got the superstar players. They've got it all.
Yeah.
So I can't really see past them. I mean, Philly may have played their Super Bowl last game. And I think you're dreaming a little bit if you're picking them. But the only way that I can see them guys winning is it's just so obvious that Kansas are going to win. And they literally just, they don't take it as serious as they should. If that's even possible, because it's the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And the pressure could be off Philly, but then it's the Super Bowl. Pressure is this is pressure. Definition of pressure is Super Bowl. So I can't see past Kansas. I can't. The players they've got: Patrick, Travis, Chris Jones, to name a few. I can't see past them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's. Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's definitely the sensible choice, shall we say? So you've just listed a couple of players there. Of those players, or someone else who might come to mind, who do you think would be selected as the game's MVP?
I want to say Patrick, but I want to be different. So I'm going to go. I think I picked Patrick though at the start.
So you do have Patrick Mahomes for the regular season MVP. But this is specifically for the Super Bowl, like the game itself.
Well, I'm going to join the Swifty gang then and say Travis Kelce.
He wants a bit of Kelsey action. I like it.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think that's potentially where the smart money is going to go. I think there's going to be a lot, I think we're going to see a lot more of Travis Kelce in the Super Bowl than we've seen of him in the season. I think they're using an old Patriots trick, as I've alluded to in past.
The AFC Championship year broke the record on CBS for the amount of viewership.
Yep.
57 million.
Oh. I was listening to a podcast today where the guest is a Swiftie, and they were talking at length about all things Taylor Swift, and the host of the podcast that was talking about how it's basically nothing short of a cult.
In the UK, do you think more people watched Queen Elizabeth's funeral?
Oh.
No,
it's
no.
probably no, isn't it?
No. I mean, yeah, they do have a population of like 300 million. But that's like, supposedly, the Queen Elizabeth's funeral, the UK viewership was 37.5 million. So that's not even close to that. And that's when the Queen died. Like, the Queen, that's crazy. That puts it into perspective.
Yeah.
It is impressive.
Swifties are in this.
Yeah.
And they bring money.
Yeah, they do.
So we've got your winner. We've got your MVP. Do you have a rough idea of what score you reckon the game might go to?
Will it be high or will it be low?
Well, this is the question, isn't it? So I'd say that you've got the argument that on both sides you could have Mahomes will sort of like spread the ball around, whereas on the Eagles side of things, they'll just keep feeding the ball to
It's only
Barkley.
going to one play. It's
So-
on the Eagles side of the ball.
I think it's going to be 34-10 to KC.
Wow. You're going blowout.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we've put down first touchdown and last touchdown scorers. Now, usually we'd ask for individual players on this one, but you can just give us the team if you'd prefer.
I'm going to say KC for both.
Yeah.
Judging on my prediction.
Yeah.
I'm going all in here. I'm going all in.
Doesn't surprise me with a 34-10 game score prediction, to be fair, but yeah. So this is now the last question is the one that we almost class as like the favourite of the podcast. Now, everyone always enjoys the team that wins. It always cuts to the sideline. The head coach is there. He's being embraced by all his team, and then some cheeky scamps appear from behind him with the bucket of Gatorade, and they pour it over him, and everyone wants to know what is the colour of the liquid inside that Gatorade bucket. Now, we do this because Sky Bet have, for as long as I've been watching the Super Bowl, offer an actual market on the colour of the liquid that will be in this bucket. And if it will help with your decision making, Tony, I can give you the current odds on the different colours that
Have they already put the odds up?
I mean,
Already
before you do, I'm
Yep.
going to go with orange.
So, do you want me to put orange straight down? You don't want to know any odds?
I mean, if you're letting me listen to the odds before you say orange, and then make a final decision, I would like to do that. That's up to you. I'm coming from
absolutely.
a podcast where when you make predictions on Straight to the Apex, you get absolutely fucking slammed. It needs to be done now, like 5 seconds ago. There's no time for thinking. No time.
Listen,
There's no patience. It needs to be now.
we're an
If you're
we're an
going
inclusive
easy on
podcast.
me, I really appreciate it. So
We're
lovely.
an inclusive podcast. We like to give people as much information as possible.
Oh,
So
that's so kind. Thank you. I appreciate it.
your first thought was orange. Orange is the current 2-1 favourite.
Yeah, it's always going to be.
The 7-2 second favourite is purple.
Oh, there she is. And ultimately, the reason that we do the Gatorade shower, the bet, the prediction, whatever you want, is it goes all the way back to a conversation me and Paul had about 10 years ago, where I was like, I always bet on, of all the possible markets in the Super Bowl, there is one I always bet on, and it's the Gatorade shower. And year in, year out, I always put the same thing. It's always purple. And that particular year, it came up as purple, and it just generated this obscure, random. Every time we're going to do it, we're going to talk about the Gatorade shower. Hilarious.
There are 3 colours that are currently 4-1. However, one of them is a joint pick. So you can have red/pink at 4-1.
Rude.
Or blue at 4-1.
Blue is a common one.
Blue is a common one. See, I would always like class that more as like Powerade from like sort of over here. You can have 5-1 odds of yellow/green.
That's the one that pisses me off more than anything. That one really annoys me because yellow and green are very different. And I know in the whole Gatorade kind of whatever, they can look similar, so to save any argument, but yellow and green are different colours. So
I think the idea is that
bets.
Is it not more difficult to sort of like see green against a green pitch?
Mm.
And the 7-1 outsider at the moment, which could be my pick,
Got to be clear.
is clear.
Yeah. Another one that winds me up because, clear.
Is it water?
Exactly. And is open to interpretation.
Yeah,
once all the ice is melted,
yeah,
could water anything down to clear.
Is somebody just smashing like some, what do you call it in there? Some colorant, just randomly, just at the end, like bang. Don't know.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theorists. Yeah.
They look at the market movements
Yeah.
and they try and work out where they can make the most money and then just get the sachets out.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. They make calls.
So,
right.
Are you sticking with orange, Tony?
No.
Oh, he's changing. I like it. I love it. He's seen the markets and he's thinking, money's to be made here, fellas.
I'm going to go.
Like?
I'm going
Say
with
that again,
purple.
sorry?
I'm going with purple. Now,
Well,
the reason being is that last season was purple, I think.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if I flick back to
and
the last season's winner.
The season before that was purple. But is there
let's see if I can go back that far.
Maybe Kansas City just like a lot of, purple Gatorade in the locker room.
It has been purple.
I alluded to the winner of the Super Bowl surreptitiously.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are Tony's, some might say, expertly chosen picks for this season's Super Bowl. He has the Kansas City Chiefs winning the game 34-10. They will score both the first and the last touchdown. Travis Kelce will win the game's MVP, and Andy Reid will be bathed in a delicious purple liquid.
It's fantastic. Honestly, if you tune in next week and you do the Andy, what you pick for the Super Bowl, I'll be like, take Tony's and cut copy paste for me, please, because basically it's pretty much everything that you said there, Tony, is going to be in my box for the Super Bowl prediction. Not to ruin next week's picks at all, but hey, I think the script has probably been in for at least a year at this point. Anyway, all that's left here is for me to thank our guest. It's been an absolute delight for you to come on, and obviously, like I said before, little advert for the upcoming season of the Formula One podcast, Straight to the Apex. Look for that pre-season episode coming up next week, where Tony will be joined by Mark, and there's another guy. Doesn't appear on other podcasts, but he certainly turns up for the Formula One.
Jimmy. Sure. I think he goes by Jimmy. Don't know why.
That's it. That's it right there. Big thank you to my co-host for running the book. The book is always immaculate. In years to come, they will be added to the Cookie Cast Museum for being able to look back and see where the predictions lie. Big thank you to you, the listener, you, the watcher. This is the time of year to try and rinse the Cookie Cast for prizes, gifts, and any sort of thing. So if you want to let us know your menu, now's the time. If you want to get your Super Bowl picks in early and secure one of our NFL prize packages, hey, there'll be something from the Super Bowl, there'll be something from the season, and it'll all be coming to your door if you A, send us a prediction, B, win the predictions. 2 possible prizes right there. What more could you want? 3 prizes. Nothing in this world is free except all that stuff I've just mentioned. So there we have it. Thank you to these 2 gentlemen here. Thank you to you, the watcher, the listener. Thank you to the National Football League for the things that they do. And yes, join us next week for the review of the Pro Bowl and just how amazing it was, how it should definitely continue for many years to come. And our Super Bowl preview. That's it from us. Tune into the Straight to the Apex podcast as well. That's going to be an absolute banger. I am looking forward to it because let's face it, it's Ferrari's year. And if you're in the know,
lots to talk about, lots to review. It's going to be very quick, fast paced. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be juicy. That's all I can say.
Really. Right.
Very.
That's it from us. And we will catch you all next time. Until then, tatty bye. And we'll see you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there you go. Which think's that? Another one done. Another one gone. Massive thank you to Tony for joining us. Big thanks to you for watching or listening. Before you go, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. And check out our website, thecookiecast.com. There we have social media links and an email button. That way you can get in touch with us. That's it for this one. Join us next week for our second Super Bowl preview episode. But until then, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to this awesome cookie cast.